Good morning, good morning. It is 30th of April, end of April, and with us being on a shutdown mode, whether it's voluntary or not on your part, it has given a lot of us an extra time to really truly focus on some things that I think are really important, and that is providing your own food. And today I have the absolute pleasure of presenting to you a parade of your gardens on display. I have received a lot of very wonderful photographs, and it's early in the year, so some of this stuff is young and it's growing, and some people are getting into just starting their stuff and starting on a small level, patios and stuff. Some of the pictures are, you have to kind of imagine what's going to be there, because I got them in the emails and text messages and stuff, and oh, here's where I'm going to put some stuff. So they're like fence with an area where there's going to be all this kind of stuff. So you got to kind of imagine where we're going with this. There are a lot of really good things that are being done here. I want to congratulate everyone on putting forth the effort that they can get to. And I want to share some thoughts with you on those of you who are growing as to where you may wish to get with it in some kinds and some ways. So before we get going on the parade, I wanted to do a quick sharing of an interesting perspective and some concepts. I now figured out why. That's why it was out the side there. All right, just learned something. Let me get this out of the way. So first off, this morning before I went to edit this video, and I'm still editing what you're sending in, I figured I'd climb up on top of the roof and I'd take some snapshots of my garden in the full extent. And you can see, I have only a small area of grass right here where the fruit trees are going to be, so that and that'll be like my little mini orchard. But you can see all around I've got the rows, and you've seen them in my videos, but it looks different up here, and it gives you a different idea. All down around here in this upper corner here, up in the upper left, is going to be a whole lot of squash, and some more squash and corn right in that area. Let's move over to here, and you can see the footprint right here where the greenhouse is going to be. I've got my summer squash set up to be right here. All my brassicas are back here, and I hate that message. And tomatoes are going to be back here. You can see my potato rows, my beets and stuff back there, and all my greens here, and fruit trees. So what I want you to take away from my example is the reasons I've been sharing with you what I have in my videos is that I'm trying to give you guys a target, an idea and a concept of what it takes to feed yourself. Now, many of you are in, how should I say, little subdivisions, homes, where all you got is a small backyard, and you're going to see a lot of these photos. But do understand that even if you are on a small piece of land and you don't have this much dirt, let's say there's no way that you could have this kind of dirt, it is still possible to produce as much food as I'm producing here, in that if you know how to cycle crops and grow vertically and grow in containers in different ways, you can do it. So one of the things that I see that I really, really want to encourage everybody who is growing food is to up the volume of the amount of stuff that you're doing. And you'll get there, I know you will, because once you start producing some of it, it becomes so much fun, and you realize just how easy it is to really start to produce more. Now, let me give you a clue. I'm going to go back to this other image between this area here and this area here, where all the food that we've got here. I want you to really think about the volume of what I'm producing here, and what does that mean for a family of four or a couple, so that volumes, this is my biggest point that I want to share, with the amount of uh, food that we really want to look at producing here, because there's a lot of you have got some really good techniques in how I see some fantastic stuff, but the biggest thing is I want to encourage everybody to do much more. So with what I'm showing you in my garden, let's look at it from the full picture, and that is, if it's just me and T, what we're producing in the way of food, if we maximized everything got processed, packed, canned, dried, whatever we could do from this year, technically T and I could produce enough food right here for probably easily a couple years, 2 years plus, for what we've got here. Okay, more than that I think, but not all of it's going to be storable that long. And I mean, because potatoes and onions and stuff like that, you're not going to store those for more than a season, more than a winter. So in actuality, once I get done with what I've got here, what I think we could do based on my experience in volume is we could feed probably 6 adults for 1 year. So the amount of food that we've got here that we're going to be able to produce here, if you had a meal per night or a couple meals per day, and that's going to include which they aren't out there in the run, they ate and they went back in because sun, they don't like the sun the way they used to, because it stings them a little bit. So anyway, all my chickens and my eggs, so with the turkeys for meat, and the chickens and the vegetables in all of these, T and I could produce enough food here in this area to not go to the grocery store for anything virtually for a year. And that's a highly vegetative diet. The proteins would be eggs and the meats. But I think T and I could feed, with the exception of one thing or a couple of items. That's milk and cheeses, because we don't have our barn that will go down right here. So we're going to have some goats and probably a hog, maybe a lamb, a sheep, or I don't know, maybe even a calf right here that will end up grazing in this lower pasture area once we get it fenced in and everything. That's as close to complete self-sufficiency with food. I'm not there 100%. I'm still working on getting there. But the whole idea is, I really want you to see what I know for a fact is the kind of volume of food that one has to produce if they don't go to the grocery store. I know that's a lot said, but it is something that each and every one of you can attain, even in your smaller areas, if you incorporate different growing techniques. There's aquaponics, hydroponics for small areas. Some of the pictures that you're going to see that were sent to me are in walk paths between a property line fence and the wall of a house, very narrow areas. But I still say that if you are successive planting and combination planting or companion planting, multiple things in one area, you're going to find that you can increase the volume of food substantially, rather substantially. I have some area where I can spread it out and do it in a more traditional area, but there are ways that you can take a barrel, like you see, next to my little antenna pole right here. You can take a barrel and do multiple crops in it, and increase your yields in a very, very small place. You can do carrots, you can do potatoes, onions. You can do virtually a huge pot of stew in that area. And with its vegetable stew or beef, with a meat into it, you can do enough here for 8 or 12 meals in one of these. But then you got to think about, my friends, you really got to think about how many meals do you eat in a year. So I'm going to give you one more concept, and then we're going to lead in. Then we'll go right into the video, because I really want you guys to see this. It's a huge thing. When T and I started thinking sustainability in our canning, I get comments, Aaron, you need canning jars. Well, I've got them. I've got somewhere between 40 and 50 cases. And what I was doing the math on is, if we've got 365 days a year, you're not necessarily going to need 365 jars, but maybe you consider that how many jars of food do you need to open up? How many cans of food are you buying at the grocery store for a year's worth of food? How many meals? How many carbs? How much carbs? How many calories? That kind of thing do you need? And once you start to fathom the true amount that you need, then you start to realize how much it takes to truly do it. Now, don't let that overwhelm you, my friends. Please don't let that overwhelm you. It is a process that we're all going to be in restructuring the way we do things. This trucking of food across the country just isn't going to do it anymore. We're going to have to produce it ourselves. And just because you can't do what I'm doing at the moment doesn't mean that you can't significantly improve or continue to do more for yourself as you start to learn. Because, I just posted those two squash videos just before this one, and I'm looking through the video, I'm going, oh my God, the whole place looks different than it does now. The amount of area that I've cleared from the trees, the amount of garden space that I've prepped and stretched open, it's way, way more now than I did last year. So, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep stepping up our games and getting better at it. But what I've seen from you guys so far, I'm impressed. I really like what I see. I think there's different levels of growth and development there, and that's the whole point. So enough of me yakking. I got a real fun little presentation. I got some fun music for you, and this is something you all need to be proud of what you've accomplished. So on that, thank you for sending your pictures in.
The devil got a hold of me and set me free. She kept me sober and some. I'm a sailor man from Glasgow town. I run this world around and round. It's the neatest thing I ever found. These waters. Present me, look me in the eyes, to say me, took me by surprise. Take me to your paradise, but to see the jungle. Here we go again. We're on the road again. We're on the road again. We're on our way to paradise. We love the jungle deep. That's where the lion sleeps. And then those evil lies, they have no place in paradise. Graffiti on the wall just says the sun was going down. I see graffiti on the wall. On ourselves, on ourselves. Graffiti on the wall, it says we're magic, we're magic. Graffiti on the wall. Graffiti on the wall. Let's say hoo-ha, up the raw, say hoo-ha, up the raw. Hoo-ha, up the raw, say hoo-ha, up the raw. Hoo-ha, up the raw, say hoo-ha, up the raw. We went through its jungle deep for the paradise that we didn't seek was no place for the weak. We're waltzing with the natives. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. From the Amazon to Borneo, from Africa to Tokyo, from the neatest jungles of the world, where's could I lose them? Na 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 na. Around in circles every way, he looked at me and he did say, I think you're leading me astray. I want your soul to boil. Na 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 na. Here we go again. We're on the road again. We're on the road again. We're on our way to paradise. We love the jungle deep. That's where the lion sleeps. And then those evil eyes, they have no place in paradise. Graffiti on the wall just as the sun was going down. I see graffiti on the wall of the South, of the South. Graffiti on the wall, it says we're magic, we're magic. Graffiti on the wall. Graffiti on the wall. It says